Words from Professor PLO Lumumba to the people of Africa here in the continent and to those who are in the diaspora. As I said last here in 2 months ago, I shared my views that there's a need for Africa Diaspora Summit, and I hope Professor has spoken very well that we need to come together, but we cannot come together if we are in this scattered situation. Africans all over the world, we are not organized. And one thing that is paining Africa is that we don't know what we want as the people of Africa. If you ask Africans, what are you want to achieve with your resources? Many of us, we don't know. But if you ask the Chinese, they know what they want. And that's why they are always summoning our leaders in Beijing to make sure that they are going to have access to our natural resources, the same to others, to Europeans, to Americans, to Russians, and listen to Koreans. They know what they want, but we Africans, we are sleeping. So we need to wake up. We need to unite. And as I said many times, this Africa Diaspora Summit will bring all our intellectuals together and to restructure, design, and formulate our new map for the people of Africa and for African continent. As Professor said, you heard that we are engaging with China or the rest of the world, but what are we going to say to China? What are we going to offer to China? Instead of offering these natural resources, what are we going to offer when we meet with China, with Russia, with America? If you look, Russia is powerful in terms of nuclear technology. What are we going to offer? What are we going to gain from Russia? Not as an individual countries, as the whole continent of Africa. So that's why we are saying we need to come together. We need to unite. Of course, even the day before yesterday, I shared the video and telling young people that there's no one who is in Europe or in America who will come and give us economic freedom. It is our duty, it is our responsibilities to make sure that the current generation, we are going to bring economic freedom to this continent. So, my dear kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, where you are, you must understand there's a need for us, the people of Africa, to work together, to come together, to unite. I don't know what is the difficulty for us to come together. You see the Europeans, they are coming together. You see the Chinese, the same, these Jews, they are coming together. But when it comes to Africans, we don't come together. I don't know what the problem, what is the reason behind, but all in all, my dear kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to for us, the people of Africa, to come together to discuss what we want to achieve, and at what time. So then if we can plan like that, I hope we can move forward and we can succeed. The professor has spoken many things. I want to continue to share what the professor has said. But one thing also I want to comment is the issue of peace. It is very easy to speak here because there is a peace where I'm talking from. But in other areas, like in Democratic Republic of Congo, in some areas in Sudan, in some areas in Somalia, in Mozambique, some areas in Sahel, so there's no peace. So we need, first of all, to make sure that we have peace. But I have said, to have peace also, it needs all of us to come together. We cannot talking about peace if we are so divided. We need to come together as the people of Africa to discuss how are we going to bring peace. And of course, have already suggested that we need, for instance, I touched our elder President Museveni, and I will repeat this again. You, President Museveni, you are the elder. You are being respected by other leaders. I think you have opportunity to call other soldiers, like President Kagame is a soldier, President Traore is a soldier, General Army Abdulrahman Tian, General Army Assimi Goita, and also Mamadou Doumbouya. All those are soldiers. I hope President Museveni, you can convene a meeting to those soldiers and find a solutions. How are we going to bring peace to this continent? Structure, create things. Wherever the current leaders will not implement, I'm sure the young generation are coming. They will implement your ideas. So don't say they will not come. Do something. Try to convince them and to bring them together. Then try to find solutions. I hope from there we can tackle this challenge of insecurity, and we can also fight for those who are trying to destabilize this continent. We must understand this continent need peace. All these things that we are talking here, we are talking about development, continental free trade area. We are talking about the issue of free movement of people and goods. Without peace is just a dream. So we cannot achieve anything without peace. So, my dear kings and queens, let us start with the issue of peace. Let us give this this task to presidents, those soldiers who are leaders. For instance, as I mentioned some of them, President Kagame, President Museveni, Mamadou Doumbouya of Guinea, Captain Traore of Burkinabe, Simi Goita, Niger, and Amini Mali and Abdulrahman Chiani of Niger. These soldiers must play their part. They must make sure that they are going to contribute positively to this continent by bringing an article or plans on how are we going to have a single army and how are we going to tackle this challenge of insecurity. And I hope from there we can start discussing about industrialization. We can start talking about adding value. You know, I've been saying this, these things that we are talking here, as I said in the previous, it is useless if we have no peace. Because if we are talking about improving infrastructures through conflict, those infrastructures will be destroyed. We are talking about feeding yourself. We cannot feed yourself if we don't have peace. Farmers will fear to go to farm to grow crops or to produce food. So automatically Africa will be affected by hunger. So let us embrace peace in this continent. Let us give the task to presidents who are soldiers, and please make sure that you tag this video to our leaders who are soldiers, starting with President Museveni, go to President Kagame, and also Captain Traore, Doumbouya, and others who are soldiers, who know these are soldiers. They can help this continent to bring peace. We need peace. We need security in this continent. We are tired of seeing our mothers, our children, our elders suffering with insecurity. So we need peace and security in this continent. So Professor is a wisdom tank. You heard a lot of from Professor, and of course we need more people like the Professor who can advise young people, the people of Africa, and come up with solutions. Of course, we don't need to talk much here. We need to implement. The year 2025, let us become the year of implementation. We have spoken for many years. For instance, last year, almost 365 days, we have been talking about some issues and solutions, but let us this year go on the ground and implement those ideas. Where you are, my dear Africans, young people, try to come up with solutions. Try to do something that will help this continent slowly, small by small. Don't think about doing maybe big things. Try to do a small things in a better way, so that that small things can impact on the communities and the people of Africa. So what we need here right now is solutions. We need solutions that will work for this continent, and we need Africans to do something to change things on the ground, and that's what we need to do. So wherever you are good in anything, whether in technology, whether in industries, whether in wherever you are, try to do something. Make sure that you solve the challenge of this continent. From there, I hope we can start examine ourselves that by the year 2026 or 7, Africa has moved away from where Africa it was. Those are just my words and my thoughts. So, my dear kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, Let us stop here. Of course, we have shared, and please help us to share the video to many Africans as you can. And where you are, make sure that you tell your fellow Africans that we need Africa Diaspora Summit to discuss and to undo the Berlin Conference and to come up with solutions that will work for the continent of Africa. So up to there, let me say thank you. Have a nice time. See you next time, and I hope you are going to do what is good and light for this continent, wherever you are. Thank you for your listening, for watching, and for commenting, of course, for everything that you have done. We appreciate you have taken your time and you have left your things to come and listen. So let me say thank you. Have a nice time. Bye bye. Yes, that is fantastic. Welcome back, my dear kings and queens, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. That is Professor PLO Lumumba sharing his thoughts and views on how are we going to achieve as the people of Africa, as African continent. And of course, he repeated the same thing that I shared 2 months ago on the issue of unity and coming together. And of course, you know, we cannot unite if we don't know what are we going to achieve. We need to have the purpose, we need to have vision, we need to have also mission. So and to do so, we need as I said last November, that we need Africa Diaspora Summit. Why? Because if you take intelligent and some African or experts profession from the diaspora and those who are in the continent, then come together, I hope we can come up with solutions of our challenges. And of course, Africa, this time we are at the crossroad. All these big nations are here. They're trying to divide African countries. They're trying to get resources. But all in all, what we must understand as the people of Africa is that our salvation is our unity. As the people of Africa, you see, we are still struggling for everything, economically, spiritually, politically. So in order for us to be stable, we need to come together. And we need one of the best summits that will bring all of us, the people of Africa, and then draw the new map for our continent. You see, for instance, we have this China-Africa Summit, my dear kings and queens. We have US-Africa Summit. Why US are conducting Africa-US Summit or US-Africa Summit? Why China is sponsoring China-Africa Forum? Why Russia is also doing the same? We must start thinking ourselves and asking difficult questions. If others are thinking about us, what about us? Yes, as Professor said, we want to engage with the rest of the world. What are we going to share there as the people of Africa? So instead of individuality, of going there as individuals, why don't we come together as the people of Africa and engage with China, engage with America, engage with Russia, engage with Europe? You see, for instance, when the Europeans want to come to Africa for any issues, they came or they come as European Union. They're not coming individually. But when Africa or African countries want to get access or to get something from other countries, we are going there individually.